So yesterday saw the release of the Rogue One teaser trailer, to much of my surprise and delight. Now when I say I'm going to look forward to this movie, that is a vast understatement, and this trailer has made me want to see the film right now. So before I gush anymore, let's break down the key points of this tease. The first thing to talk about is the look of the film. It looks amazing. The cinematography and the special effects in the trailer are outstanding. It all helps to make it look and feel a lot more like the original trilogy than The Force Awakens. Now the dialogue in the opening shots are interesting, as it appears our main character, Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones, is being questioned by a rebel officer that we see later on. Now we know that the character is wanted by the Empire, so it'll be interesting to see how she was captured by the rebellion, as during the opening we clearly see her being escorted to the briefing room somewhere in the rebel base of Yavin 4. Now because the film is set right before A New Hope, the rebels still have a very large presence on the planet, and this includes a very young but familiar character of Mon Mothma. This is a very surprising but welcoming appearance from the revolutionary leader herself, as up until now, in this new canon, we have never really seen her involvement with the capture of the Death Star plans, or where she was around the events of Episode 4. Plus, it's always nice to see her actress returning from that deleted scene of Episode 3. One of the things I love about this is the practical effects used for certain scenes. It really harkens back to the original trilogy, and makes it feel much more like Star Wars. I love that we get to see Diego Luna's character, rumoured to be Cassian Willix, as part of the Alliance already, and despite him having no lines in the trailer, I can already tell that him and Jyn are going to have some interesting rapport with one another. For me, however, one of my favourite scenes in this trailer is the shot of the Star Destroyer being eclipsed by the main weapon of the Death Star. Not only is this shot beautifully, using unique angles to show what's happening, but the look of the ship is stunning. Despite being rendered in CGI, it has the same lighting and detail that you get when filming with a model, and that makes me think of the model work during Return of the Jedi. It's also of interest to note that the Death Star is mostly complete except from its main weapon, shown being moved into place, which despite being contradictory to what we see in Episode 3, has been presumably constructed separately. Now later on in the trailer, we'll see a planet that I can only summarise as being where most of the station's construction was complete, which seems to be supported by the clip that we saw at last year's celebration. Now this scene has got me interested, as why are the rebel pilots scrambling for attack? Is it that this scene takes place during Episode 4 as an epilogue to Rogue One? Maybe, but unlikely. Is it more likely that they're getting ready to help with the attack of the planet that I just mentioned, and that we'll talk about in a sec? So we then have a big mystery. Who is this Imperial officer? A Grand Admiral from the looks of his outfit. Most importantly, why does he have what look to be plans of the Death Star from Episode 4 behind him? And why is he on the Death Star itself, in a room that looks a lot like the one which we see Leia Organa watching the destruction of Alderaan from? Now, I have a theory that this could either be the rumoured father of Jyn, who originally came up with the plans for the Death Star, or it could be the Admiral in charge of that sector of space, perhaps working for the Imperial Security Bureau. I do love the grittiness and the darkness that this trailer is trying to go for. The fact that this film will show what it truly was like under the iron rule of the Empire makes me happy, as the new trilogy is trying to go for something a bit more cheerful. I also love the musical score of this trailer, using some of the classical notes from the original trilogy, but combining them with sound effects to create something both nostalgic but new. The outfits for the film are also something to point out. I love the look of Forrest Whitaker's mismatched outfit, along with Donnie Yen's character, who's pulling off a very samurai-esque motif. Once again, this just emphasises how much of a thrown-together squad the main characters are going to be, while still having unique characters onto themselves. But I think the shot that most people are interested in is the one that we first saw a day before, of these very uniquely coloured stormtroopers, rumoured to be known as an elite death squad, which I have to summarise is this new canon's version of Dark Troopers. This would also explain the weapons they use and the shuttle that we see later on in this trailer as being exclusive equipment for them. After all, if you're going to protect one of the Empire's most secret weapons, then you're going to use some of your most skilled troopers at your possession. Now, as well as these new troopers, it's also great to see the return of the good old bucketheads that we've grown to love. And this scene just highlights that. Now, along with some new troopers, it seems to be, based off the architecture, that this scene takes place inside the Death Star or an Imperial base of some kind. After all, what a better way to get round a moon-sized space station than to take a train? Another big mystery is this cloaked figure. Who are they? And what is in that back-to-tank type piece of equipment? And could those two royal guards be the key to answering these questions? Now, based off the presence of the royal guards, it could either be the Emperor, which is highly unlikely based off the shape of the figure's head, Vader, which is more likely, or someone new entirely. It would make sense that it's Vader as he's rumoured to be in the film, but I doubt it. Now, while all of the trailer has been outstanding, one of the highlights is the last scene, in which we not only see some new looking 80s, but we also start to get the sense of how many of these characters might not make it by the end of the film. I do like that the 80s are a midway step in their development, somewhere between Rebels designs and those seen in Empire Strikes Back. Also, it's the first time we get a look at this tropical planet that I can theorise is where the majority of the film is going to be set, and the planet in which the Death Star is being built over, as I said earlier. There is also a very interesting tablet being held by Jyn, presumably the stolen plans that everyone is after. Now, I haven't talked much about Felicity Jones in this trailer, as there's not much to say without me gushing. From what we have seen, I really love her acting and the charisma that she brings to the character of Jyn. And this last scene is no different. I can imagine that many may assume the outfit she's wearing means that she's joined the Empire. However, this is more than likely the outfit she's going to use to infiltrate the Death Star or the Imperial base where the plans are being held. I do like it. It's a mix between a TIE pilot's uniform and the one worn by Callus in Rebels. She looks very cool indeed. Overall, I love this trailer. While The Force Awakens wasn't very exciting for me, this has made me more than happy about Rogue One, and makes me want December to be here now. However, the final piece of information we have to bear in mind is that this is just a teaser, which means there is a lot more they're not showing us. And you can imagine that between now and December, we're going to see a hell of a lot more, especially at Celebration. But until then, thank you for watching, guys. I will see you soon.